at least 90% of the world's diamonds are cut and polished in Surat, in one city in India. Because the GIA standard for these things is so lax, it absolutely flavours the manufacturers, the cutters and polishers, and the people who are selling the diamond, not the consumer. A lot of you were taught that a diamond that is not eye clean is I1 or imperfect or P1. Rubbish. Next question, obvious question, would be why only India? Because most diamonds are cut and polished in India. And most diamonds, so at least 90% of the world's diamonds are cut and polished in Surat, in one city in India, and then they get transported to Mumbai. This is the trading centre in Mumbai. It's called the Bharat Bourse. I think the population of people who work there is something like about 200,000 people when all the offices are full. It is huge, it's monstrous. So almost all of the world's diamonds trade hands here. You see people from all walks of life, from all countries, going in and out of the offices, as well as, of course, lots and lots of Indians. So I have an agent there, and he will actually eyeball the diamonds for me. And that's why it's India. So before we get to that though, for some reason, I have to click twice, I think. So a bit hard to see, but there's orange and red here. All of the red things that we will mark, or I will mark, we are not going to look at because they're very likely to have a problem. So diamonds, I've chosen SI1, diamonds where cloud is the main feature, the first feature on the grading report, just underneath the plots on the GIA grading report. Those features are ranked in order of importance. So the first thing is called the grade maker. So when you only have one, like crystal, it means that you're going to have to make sure that that diamond is eye clean, because it could have a whopping great big crystal, could be down near the culet and reflect 25 times, all sorts of things. So typically, because this is not an actual example, typically about 50 would be rejected for the grade maker, being most likely cloud, internal graining, doesn't pop up very often, and things like twinning and so on. Feathers, they can be okay, but if they're on the girdle or if they're on a crown facet, bit of a problem. If it's a feather on the pavilion side, who cares? It's not going to break unless the setter breaks it by dropping his tools on it. And typically about 40 out of those stones, almost 10%, are probably not going to be eye clean because we're looking at some SI1s and especially the SI2s. Most of the SI2s in a carat will be knocked out. A lot of you were taught that a diamond that is not eye clean is I1 or imperfect or P1. Rubbish. Lots and lots of 1 carat SI1 diamonds are not eye clean from 12 inches, 30 centimetres for a person with 20/20 vision. So this is an ideal scope. And what we do with the ideal scope, and this is what my agent will do with the diamonds that he is going to start selecting. And he will start with a company that has a good reputation for high quality polish and good prices. Prices are important. So what we do is we look like this and we can see these images. So GIA Triple Excellent will fall within this red square. And if you've ever used an ideal scope, or you can understand the very, very simple principle, if you see white or pale, that means light is coming from behind the diamond. More light is coming from behind the diamond than coming from the front and back to you. So I have millions of examples of diamonds that look like this. The top row is just for the light performance. The bottom row is to show the symmetry. And because the GIA standard for these things is so lax, it absolutely flavours the manufacturers, the cutters and polishers, and the people who are selling the diamond, not the consumer. So, I don't want to buy any of those stones back other than these guys here. I looked this stone up the other day. That is a diamond from 3 days ago that passed GIA XXX. So it's returning about 2/3 of the light that has come from above it and lots and lots and lots of light from behind. So symmetry, Vera? Vera's going to make this diamond not symmetrical. Vera's my wife, by the way. There we are. It's not symmetrical anymore. And when it's not symmetrical, it means, for example, that it's probably not round. This stone would be a little bit oval. Yeah? And we can see that through the centre, the diamond is not showing those star patterns. The star pattern is the same as, for those of you who know, a hearts and arrows. So a hearts and arrows scope makes those stars look white. An ideal scope does exactly the same thing and makes them look black. And this is an example of one of the largest online sellers in the world, JamesAllen.com. Jim uses ideal scope photos to show the symmetry. He uses normal hearts photos to show the back of the stone to show the symmetry. He uses ideal scope to show the front of the stone. So we now have typically about a half of the stones left, so we've got 132 diamonds left out of the 7,500 that we started with.